everyone, and welcome back. It's Gina from orchidandopal.com, and I am back today with the December 2022 dollar bead box and bag monthly subscriptions to open up with you all. And if you would like to try out one of these subscriptions, you can check out the link that I have posted right down below the video in the description section. That'll take you to the sign up page, so it'll have all the details you need to know about signing up. For this one, it's around the $20 to $25 price point, including shipping if you're in the US, and the price goes down a little bit the longer you choose to subscribe initially. And the dollar bead bag that we'll check out first is an $8 a month add-on that is optional to get along with your subscription. So let's go ahead and check out what is in the box this month. All right, so here's the dollar bead bag on the top, and every month we get a unique variety of 3 and 4 millimeter check fire polish faceted round beads. We get 4 of each size, and it's a great way to sample the different things that you can find at the Dollar Bead Box online store, because they have these strands plus so many more that you can get for just $1 a piece if you are a subscriber, one of the perks of this subscription. So we can go ahead and take a look at these strands up close. Kicking it off with our 3 millimeter sizes, we have the Crystal Volcano variety, which is sparkling with its sort of half and half crystal and silver color scheme. You see the metallic that is on one part of the bead that is opaque, and then we have that transparent crystal clear with that volcano finish, adding in some pops of color in the form of some light blues and pinks, a little bit of gold, and some other tones that really get picked up when the light is shining on them. Our second one is this beautiful opaque red in this bright cherry color with no additional finish, just a classic strand of bright red fire polish. And similarly, we can always use some more of these. This is the jet black opaque 3 millimeter fire polish bead, one that would go with so many different things as well, in the classic jet black shape and size. And then fourth is the Crystal Half Gold, another one of those half and half strands similar to the first one where we had the silver and clear. And this one has the gold metallic on parts of the beads and then the crystal clear showing up in those other spots, also letting some of that reflective gold metallic come through. Next, for the 4 millimeter varieties, we have the Crystal AB strand, and it says you could either get this one or you could get the plain crystal without the AB coating. This one, of course, has that iridescence with the Aurora Borealis finish, bringing in some blues, pinks, golds, and all sorts of other tones. We also received the 4 millimeter size in the opaque red variety, just like we saw in the 3 millimeter size. Smooth and glossy bright red, and I'm seeing a little bit of coordination with the colors this month so far. You'll see what I mean with the other 2 strands as well. I think this one is just stunning. It is the Ruby Merrier. So it's a combination of that transparent ruby red with the Merrier finish, offering those reflective metallic spots that also come in different colors and shine beautifully under the light. And then fourth, in this, again, a reddish color palette, we have the matte pearlized ruby red. This one is a very satiny looking, sort of toned down metallic, but still vibrant berry red. One of my favorite things about the dollar bead box and bag are actually the fire polish strands, because it's really hard to find them for the $1 price point that they sell them for. And by being a subscriber to this bag or box, it allows you to go back on their website to their online store and pick these items up for just $1, giving you full access to that price as a member. Now, in the past, these strands haven't always coordinated. It's been more of a random sampler. But I've noticed lately that there is a little bit more coordination, so we'll see if that follows in line with what we see with the box contents. Either way, that's fine with me personally. I'm just pointing that out in case you want to know. And I really love this palette of these tones of red and the reflective metallics. So bringing back the dollar bead box, we have a note on the top Usually this gives some insight about some of the new items that you can find in their shop, and of course their social media and contact info at the bottom of the sheet. And then on the back of this, we have the full list of all of the contents that we're about to check out in the box, starting with the strands that are listed at the top. We also have the additional items which come in the additional bags, and it looks like a bonus item or two at the bottom. So at this point, I'm going to get organized. We'll start with the strands as usual, and we'll take a closer look at everything one at a time. We begin with this strand of 4mm cyan or red colored check glass druck beads, which are basically pressed glass rounds in this classic shape and size and that transparent bright red color. So we definitely are seeing some more coordination throughout the box, and you'll see some more of that as I go through these contents. Up next is the strand of cyan check glass heart beads in the 8mm size with 15 pieces on the strand. You can see in the similar way that the drucks were colored, they have that bright red cyan color and the transparent glass letting some light through with that very smooth, polished exterior. I'll show you strands 3 and 4 together. They are the same size, the 6mm check fire polish beads, and we have the matte silver and also the matte Victorian bronze. 20 pieces on each of these beautiful metallic satiny looking strands, and even more coordinating silver and gold, just like we saw with the fire polish beads, and these offering us a larger size. So if you get the bag as well, now you have the 6mm size to play around with too. Strand number 5 is holding the 6mm check glass pyramids. This is in opaque white bronze luster with 20 pieces on the strand. And just like they are named, they are shaped in this sort of pyramid style without the pointed top, but the hole does run directly through the center of the bead. And you can see more of that metallic shiny coating showing up on most of the sides, and then some of that opaque white glass that comes through in the remaining areas. And then our last strand contains the 7x13mm check glass fancy rectangles in jet with gold, and there's 8 pieces included. These have that sort of puffed rectangular shape with the hole going through the center, that golden wash and that press design showing up on both sides of these beads. And I think it's a really classic and elegant combination, one that you could pair with the reds that you see below or combine with other metallics or crystal clear. But I just love those details and how that golden wash really picks those up. So I think that's a beautiful assortment of different strands of high quality check glass beads, which is what we have come to expect with the dollar bead box. Sometimes they will send some gemstone beads and other varieties, but the bulk of what you'll get is check glass, and the shapes and sizes will vary from month to month. Now getting into our additional items section, this is where we see those bagged items, and this does feel like more of a sampler usually. Although, like I said, these contents seem to be pretty cohesive, and there's a lot of things you could put together this month just from one box. So we start out with our first bag. This one contains 2 of the matte vintage bronze 9x17mm check glass 2-hole carrier beads. So we have that classic light golden tone to these carrier beads. And you can see the 2 holes that run directly through each side, parallel through the bead. And a lot of times you'll see some flat peyote stitch decorating the outside of these carrier beads, although you don't always have to use them that way. Our second bag contains 16 antique silver 5mm pewter daisy spacers. So this is an example of some of the metallic components that we typically see in the boxes each month. This time we have some of these classic daisy-shaped spacer beads to add in between some of these glass beads, adding that little bit of metallic detail. In our third bag, we have yet another size of check glass fire polish faceted rounds in the 8mm size. The color is jet, and there's 14 pieces in the bag. So we have, again, our classic opaque black fire polish beads with the faceting that's located on the outside, and match that strand of 3mm jet black glass beads that we had received in the bag this month as well. In number 4, we have an antique silver pewter Tree of Life charm that is 22 by 27 millimeters. This has a really nice feel to it in terms of the quality, and it's also double-sided, which I like. There's plenty of detail, especially in those leafy sections, and there you can see the look at the side and the look at the other side of this charm or pendant. And then we have 2 of the check glass ovals, also in the jet black color. These are a 9 by 13 millimeter size. Love that we're getting 2 of these. You could incorporate these in a pair of earrings, and they often send us pairs of unique shapes and finishes. And again, you can find these typically in more colors if you check out their online shop. So it's a great way to sample all different things that you can go back and purchase more of if you want to. These, of course, have the elongated oval shape. They're kind of flat on both of the ends of the beads with the hole running through the center. Our next bag contains a Tierra Cast brand succulent charm in the antique gold color. There's 1 piece and it's a 12 by 15 millimeter size. You can't go wrong with Tierra Cast, in my opinion, a great brand of high quality metallic components made right in the US. These have some beautiful dimension and detail and a smooth and shiny golden back. Next up is a bag containing some check glass cathedral cut beads in matte crystal with silver. 16 pieces included, and it says 16 millimeters, but I'm thinking they meant 6 millimeters. They look to be about close to that size. These have always been one of my favorite check glass shapes, especially when they have the metallic finish located on both ends of the beads, because it kind of creates its own look of a bead cap. And then it really frames out what you see in the middle of the bead. In this case, that frosty clear glass, which is a classic combination, especially with that silver, and bringing us some more classic metallics to this palette that we have that really seems to coordinate well. Lots of silvers, golds, reds, and blacks this month. Our next bag contains 2 of the check glass tabular drops in Siam opal. They are 11 by 12 millimeters in size. And here they are in that sort of tomato red color with that creamy opal glass. You see some of the striations subtly running through there also. And the hole runs up and down through the length of these beads, with that wider portion that's just slightly wider being located at one end. And then we have some Chinese glass laser etched rounds. These are a set of 2 10mm size in white with silver. Another unique pair of beads for us to work with. You can see how the background is that white opaque glass. They're also smooth and glossy, cleanly drilled holes, and you see that laser etched design that covers the surface of these rounds with those slices of silver metallic. Bringing in some more red with this bag, we have the check glass flowers, also in the color Siam. There's 8 pieces of these 8mm size beads. So here you can see those 6 petal shaped flowers. This particular style of flower has the hole that is located directly through the center of that flower design, which is the same pressed in both the front and the back. Next is a 17 by 22 millimeter check glass bumblebee bead. White with gold is the combination, and of course you can see there's one piece included. Overall, this has sort of a flat oval shape, and that gold wash shows up on both sides, highlighting the pressed bumblebee design that we see on both the front and the back. The hole going up the center through the side of the bead, and it's large enough that you could use this in some sort of a pendant or a focal application. Our last item before we get to the couple of bonus bags contains one of the red with confetti check glass cabochons in 10 by 12 millimeters. There is a look at the top. You can see all those different colors that come through. I'm seeing some green, blue, yellow, and some hints of purple, although the base of this cabochon, as you can see, is made up of red opaque glass. Although you really wouldn't see that part when this is beaded into a project, it does pick up a lot of different colors and is a really fun piece to look at. And then in our bonus section, we have a bag containing 2 of the check glass pine trees. These are the 11 by 17 millimeter size in the green with silver wash. So sometimes in December, I feel like we get some additional bonus items, but not just in December. We do, I guess, from time to time, just depending on what they're offering that month. So you can see they provided yet another unique check glass shape in this pair of deep frosty green with the silver wash, bringing out the details. And our final bag contains a check glass metallic bead mix in matte vintage bronze, and this is a 20-gram assortment. And as usual, these assortments are a little bit deceiving because they do offer you more than you'd probably realize unless you took the time to sort them out. And there are pretty much for every single shape in here, multiples of each one. And this is such a classic combination of the light gold metallic. All of these assortments will contain something a little bit different, of course, but they'd be very similar to what you'll see here. I have 5 of these dagger beads in the 1-hole variety, first of all. There's also 3 of these wavy discs and 1 of those smoothed out, sort of larger bicone shapes. There's also a number of these smaller spike beads that are in the rounded variety, and then 2 of the larger ones that have the square shape at the bottom. I also received some of these elongated rectangular shapes and some smoothed out cubes. And here are some of those pyramid shapes, kind of similar to that strand that we saw earlier, this time in that gold tone, and then some of those T-shaped beads as well. And then finally, I have 1 chili bead over there with the 2 holes, an assortment of these other smaller 2-hole shapes, and then 2 of these crescent-shaped beads that you could use as a bead frame. And that wraps it up for this month's dollar bead box and bag subscription. I have been enjoying these more and more lately. And I guess it's because I do appreciate the color coordination, even though they don't promise that. But regardless of that, you get a beautiful assortment of fire polish, but also other check glass shapes, as you can see. That assortment really adds a lot of variety, I think, to what we already had in the bag and box. And if you like bead mixes, you can also check out their special deals section on their website. If you are a subscriber or a member, they have some 1-pound bead mixes. And I've got lots of videos, if you check back in my archives, where I've actually sorted several of them out and show you exactly what you can find inside. I also wanted to show you these. I don't have the earring findings on them currently, so please forgive me. But this is a design by designer Barbara Falkowitz. This is a earring pattern found in the book called Beaded Earrings, Step-by-Step Techniques on page 55, and the design is called Blue Jean Queen. But the reason I'm showing you these is because this is something I made from some of the contents that came in last month's dollar bead box and bag subscriptions. Most notably those larger 2-hole pointed stud beads, and I also used some of the fire polish and some of the little round purple pearls that came last month just to give you some inspiration and show you one of the things that I made from the contents that we had just received in November. I'll leave the link to that book that I'm referencing right down below in case you wanted to check that out. It's got lots of great earring designs in that one by all different beading designers. So once again, I think this is a really fun assortment, a great way to sample all sorts of different check glass beads and a few other things mixed in as well. I love sharing these unboxings with you so you can see which types of boxes are right for you. And hopefully this helped you out with that. I also have a playlist showing many more dollar bead box and bag unboxings going back in time, so be sure to check that out. Feel free to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this month's contents or the dollar bead box in general or anything else you'd like to say. Feel free to give the video a big thumbs up, also subscribe to my channel while you're here, and share the video wherever you like. That's all I have for now. I hope to see you all again real soon, and in the meantime, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and as always, happy beading.